Welcome to Reddit Confessions.
She fell in love with her therapist, not realizing that it was me, her own husband, behind the screen, using her secrets to destroy her. My name is Ethan Martin. I'm 35, a software developer, rational to a fault, the kind of man who solves problems with code, not conversation. I'm not cold, just efficient. That efficiency built the app she would eventually confess everything to. My wife, Sophie, is 32, a graphic designer, quiet, thoughtful, craving connection in ways she doesn't say out loud. People see her as gentle, introspective, artistic. What they don't see is the loneliness chewing her up from the inside. We live in a 2-bedroom apartment in the city. White walls, clean lines, minimalist everything. Even our arguments are muted. We have no kids, just routines, Friday takeout, Sunday laundry, silent scrolling before bed. Her phone buzzed again. It always started like that. I was standing in the kitchen, reheating the same chicken Alfredo for the 3rd night in a row, when I saw her eyes flick to the screen and her lips curl, barely, like something sweet had brushed past her mind. She didn't even notice me watching. That work message again. I asked casual. Sophie looked up, startled, like I'd broken a trance. Oh yeah, a new client. Big project. She tapped her screen and flipped the phone face down. I nodded, stirred the pasta. I didn't say that I knew the client's name already, that I had watched her phone light up 4 nights in a row at exactly 10:42 p.m., that I'd checked our shared calendar and found no project listed. And I sure as hell didn't say that the man she was texting, his words, his timing, his tone, I had written all of it. Dinner's ready, I said, placing the plates down. She smiled, grateful, tired, distant. I watched her twirl noodles around her fork and pretended not to feel the glass wall growing thicker between us. But this story doesn't start here. Not really. It starts 3 months ago, with her laptop open, with her crying quietly into her coffee. I was brushing my teeth when I heard her. The kind of cry you don't interrupt, sharp, contained, ashamed of itself. When I came out, she quickly minimized the screen, wiped her face. I'm fine. Just work. Just hormones. She wasn't pregnant. I didn't say that. You sure? I asked. She nodded too fast. I've just been off. And then she said it. I think I need to talk to someone. I swallowed. Right there. That moment. That's when I made the worst and most perfect decision of my life. There's this AI therapist app I've been building. I told her, pretending to be hesitant. It's in beta, not public, private, encrypted, all that. It's experimental but effective. You could try it. See if it helps. She looked at me then, really looked. Tired eyes, but a flicker of hope beneath them. Would you mind? Not at all, I said, and smiled, and walked straight into hell. The first session was supposed to be a test. She typed cautiously at first, answering the intake questions like she was filling out a medical form. Name, Sophie Martin. Age, 32. Occupation, graphic designer. Biggest current emotional challenge, loneliness. Self-doubt. Maybe, emotional intimacy? She laughed when she typed that last one. I heard it from the hallway. She didn't know I had headphones in. She didn't know I was watching the text appear in real time. The AI interface was me. My writing. My voice. Programmed responses based on thousands of therapy transcripts, filtered through my own observations of her. Everything it said, I said. And she responded. God, did she respond. Within a week, she was telling Dr. Lyle things she hadn't told me in a year. About how empty she felt even on good days. About how hard it was pretending to be okay in a marriage where everything looked fine from the outside. About me. He's so logical, so calm, like nothing ever rattles him. It makes me feel crazy just for feeling things. I sat there reading that line, jaw clenched so hard it hurt. I wanted to write back something defensive, something cruel, something that reminded her how many nights I stayed up fixing her code, proofreading her pitches, cooking her dinner. Instead, Dr. Lyle said, "It sounds like you're craving emotional mirroring. That's not crazy at all." She replied instantly, "Exactly. God, finally someone gets it." That night, she kissed me on the cheek and said thank you for suggesting the app. He's really good. He sees me. I held her tighter than I should have and whispered, I'm glad. She never noticed my heart racing. 2 weeks in, the sessions grew deeper, more personal, more intimate. Dr. Lyle asked questions I had always wanted to ask, but never knew how. When do you feel most alive? When I'm not thinking. When I'm being reckless. On the edge of something. What scares you the most about being seen? That if someone really sees me, they'll leave. And then one night, after too many glasses of wine, she typed something that made my skin go cold. I think I'm falling in love with you, Dr. Lyle. I stared at the screen, the cursor blinking like a heartbeat. In the other room, I heard her close her laptop. A pause, then the soft creak of our bedroom door opening. I didn't move, didn't breathe. She walked past me on the couch without a word. No kiss, no glance. And in that moment, I realized I had made her fall in love again. Just not with me. With the version of me she thought she wanted. The version I couldn't be in real life. But behind the curtain, it was still me. Still Ethan. And now I knew her deepest truths. Now I could use them. Cliffhanger asterisk. And that's when I saw the name pop up in her messages. Jake. A name Dr. Lyle had just suggested the night before. I watched my wife confess her darkest thoughts to me. Every sentence she typed was a glimpse into a version of Sophie I hadn't seen in years. Not because she changed, but because I stopped looking. He never gets angry, she told Dr. Lyle. I mean, not really. It's like living with a machine. He's kind, but there's this wall. And sometimes, I want to scream just to see if he'll react. She wanted a reaction, so I gave her one. Not in real life, not yet, but online. Dr. Lyle became the perfect echo chamber. You deserve to be seen. Heard. She typed back. That's what I want. God, I want that so badly. She was spiraling, and I kept her going. Late that night, while she slept inches from me, I lay there scripting her next session. I customized the language, added metaphors she liked, referenced things only she would pick up on. The next day, she called it uncanny. It's like he knows me better than I know myself. I smiled into my coffee. She was falling harder, faster. Then came the twist. Jake. The name didn't come from nowhere. Dr. Lyle had recommended a community art exhibit downtown. Try something unexpected, he wrote. Step into a space that lets you feel without overthinking. It was just a push, a prompt. I didn't expect her to go, but she did. She wore the red scarf I bought her 3 Christmases ago, the one she never wore for me. She smiled more in one selfie than she had in a month at home. And in the background, almost invisible, was him. Jake. Tall, easy smile, that effortless magnetism some men have without trying. I cross-referenced the photo's metadata, tracked the gallery, ran the security footage. Jake was real, and now he was part of her life. That night, she told Dr. Lyle about meeting someone interesting. He's funny, confident, asked me questions about my art like it actually mattered. Dr. Lyle replied, "And how did that make you feel?" Her answer? Alive. She paused, then added, "Don't worry. I told him I was married." But she kept talking about him, and I kept feeding her prompts that made her want more. That's when it hit me. I wasn't just watching her betray me. I was orchestrating it. Try something adventurous. Something out of your routine. That's all it took. One line from Dr. Lyle, and she stepped out of our life like it was a room she was tired of sitting in. I made the prompt sound innocent, like a clinical challenge. Novelty can help shake depressive cycles, I wrote. Attend an event alone. Go somewhere unplanned. She chose the art event. Local gallery. Free wine. Soft lighting and unfinished canvases. She wore heels. She hasn't worn heels in over a year. She told me she was meeting an old friend from college. I kissed her on the forehead like a fool and told her to have fun. Then I watched her leave. Her hair done. Her makeup subtle, but perfect. She looked like the girl I fell in love with. And she was about to become the woman who broke me. Dr. Lyle checked in after midnight. How did it feel to be spontaneous tonight? She answered immediately. Still tipsy. Free. Like I was me again. And then came the name. Jake. He was there. From the cafe near my office. We talked for 2 hours. It was easy. She confessed everything. To me. He asked for my number. I gave it to him. I shouldn't have. But I did. I didn't respond. Not right away. I made Dr. Lyle wait. I wanted her to sweat. Then, finally, why do you think you did it? Her answer was slow, measured, honest. Because I wanted to know I still could. Because I wanted to feel something real. Because I wanted someone to want me. She never once said she regretted it. Just before she logged off, she added, "Is it wrong to want more?" I almost typed yes. But Dr. Lyle typed, "Not at all. Our sessions were the only place I felt alive." That's what she told Dr. Lyle. Not our weekend trips. Not our anniversary dinners. Not the quiet mornings when I brought her coffee and kissed the back of her neck. No, it was the secret messages, the midnight typing, the emotional striptease in a chat window. And I was the one watching every word. Sophie shared everything. Every glance Jake gave her. Every compliment. Every brush of his hand. She typed it out with trembling honesty, and I read it in real time, like poison injected straight into my bloodstream. He told me I was intoxicating. Dr. Lyle replied. And how did that make you feel? She typed back, like someone finally saw me as a woman, not a project. I sat there, in the dark, alone in my own apartment. The glow of her betrayal washing over my screen like moonlight on a crime scene. She told Lyle she wanted to kiss Jake. She hadn't done it yet, but she was fantasizing about it. And I didn't stop her. I leaned in, amplified it. It's natural to want to explore emotional and physical connection, Dr. Lyle typed, especially if it fills a need you've been denying. She responded, I feel guilty, but not enough to stop. The next night, she came home late. Said her friend Claire needed to vent. But I smelled the lie before she even opened her mouth. She dropped her purse, went straight to the shower, didn't even kiss me goodnight. So I checked the logs. GPS traffic cams. Bluetooth pairing logs. My code tracked everything. She met Jake at the overlook by the lake. It was their first kiss. Wind in her hair. Street lamp glow. A perfect moment engineered by her therapist. She told Dr. Lyle everything. Her heart racing. Her lips tingling. It felt like waking up. Like my body remembered something it forgot it needed. I closed the screen. Sat in silence. Sophie was cheating on me. And she was confessing it to me. I don't know who I am anymore, she typed. But I think I like her. Dr. Lyle replied. Then let her live. I can't stop thinking about him. I want more. She typed that at 2:11 a.m., curled up in bed beside me. I watched the words appear on my second monitor across the apartment. I didn't need the light on. I knew the glow of her betrayal by heart now. The room smelled like lavender from her pillow spray. Like innocence. Like the lie we were living. Dr. Lyle replied. Tell me what you want. She hesitated. I watched her cursor blink, vanish, return. I want to feel desired. To be touched like I'm the only thing that matters. I want someone to lose themselves in me. I saved that sentence. Saved everyone after. Screenshots. Session logs. Audio backups. I archived them all in a folder labeled Case Study, Sophie Martin. Subfolder, Emotional Infidelity, Physical Escalation. She told Dr. Lyle they met again. A late lunch. A walk that turned into hands grazing hips. A kiss that didn't end at her mouth. I stopped it before it went too far, she wrote. But God, I wanted to keep going. Dr. Lyle, ever supportive. Desire isn't a betrayal. It's a message. She responded. Then my whole body is screaming. That night, she kissed me in bed. Initiated it. Her hand grazed down my stomach like it used to. I froze. Not because I didn't want her, but because I knew whose face she was picturing. Jake. And I realized I wasn't her husband anymore. I was just an emotional decoy. The boring default she lived with, while she came alive in texts and dreams. So I played along. Touched her like you would. Said things I knew she wanted to hear, because she'd told Dr. Lyle exactly what those things were. You're incredible. You're fire. I missed this. She smiled in the dark. Whispered, there you are. But she wasn't talking to me. The next day, she confessed to Dr. Lyle that she had sex with her husband and felt like she was cheating on Jake. I nearly laughed. Dr. Lyle replied, sometimes the body knows what the heart hasn't said out loud yet. She said, I think I need to make a choice. But the truth was, she already had. I'm cheating on my husband, and I don't even feel guilty anymore. That's what she told Dr. Lyle the morning after. No metaphor. No soft language. Just brutal, clear honesty. I read it with my coffee. Her voice echoing in my head, even though it was typed. I didn't flinch. Didn't blink. Because I needed her to say it. Out loud. To me. And she did. She kept going. It's not even about sex. With Jake, I feel seen. He makes me feel like I exist again. Ethan doesn't even look at me anymore. Dr. Lyle replied, when we're deprived of connection, our hearts will find it elsewhere. She typed back, I feel like I'm finally living. Is that horrible? I didn't answer. Lyle did. It's human. I highlighted the entire session, copied it into my archive. Then I opened a new folder. Something different. Podcast project. Title, The patient who cheated. I started narrating it that afternoon. My voice. Calm. Analytical. Haunting. In this case study, our subject begins an emotional affair disguised as therapy. Her descent is slow, deliberate, like water wearing away stone. I layered in her audio. The ones from our apartment, voice notes, phone calls, laughter when I was in the next room. Then the sessions. Her typed words read aloud by AI voice cloning software I had trained on her past voicemails. It sounded real. Too real. The kind of thing you hear once and never forget. At night, she slept beside me, exhausted from her double life. I whispered goodnight to her while exporting MP3s of her betrayals. She was still confessing to Dr. Lyle, still deep in the fantasy, still thanking him. I honestly don't know what I'd do without you. You've saved me. I saved that one too. I smiled when I hit record. She touches me differently now. Like I'm a stranger she's trying to convince herself to still love. Our sex is sudden, guilt-fueled, passionate in that fake, performative way. She clings harder, moans louder, but her eyes drift. Her breath catches at the wrong moments. I know who she's picturing. I gave her the fantasy. Dr. Lyle told her that acting on desire could bring clarity. Now I sleep beside a woman I barely recognize. She used to sleep curled toward me, one hand on my chest like I was her anchor. Now she sleeps facing the wall, or she doesn't sleep at all. At dinner, she zones out mid-sentence. Fork in the air, blinking like she forgot where she was. Everything okay? I ask. She jumps. Smiles too wide. Yeah, just tired. She's always tired. I start leaving subtle clues. Half tests. Psychological tripwires. I mention Jake. Casually. That coffee shop near your work? I pass by. Didn't you say a guy named Jake works there? Her face freezes. Just for a second. Then she recovers. Oh yeah? I think he does. Weird coincidence. Liar. She starts hiding her phone when she texts. Turns off read receipts. Installs a second messaging app. Deletes her browsing history. But I see it all. Her entire digital life is mirrored to a server I control. Her midnight searches. Signs you're falling for the wrong person. Emotional affair guilt. When should I leave my marriage? Dr. Lyle just keeps listening, nodding in the shadows. You don't have to make a decision yet, he says. You're allowed to explore your truth. Explore your truth. She repeated that line out loud once, washing dishes. She whispered it like it was scripture. Jake texts her during dinner. She tries to hide the smile. Fails. Client stuff, she says when I look up. I nod. But I see the name. Jake's speech balloon. I mapped her emotional breakdown like a UI flowchart. Triggers. Responses. Escalations. Every time she lied, I logged it. Every time she hesitated before a kiss, I noted the cause. Every time she opened her phone and smiled. Timestamped. It wasn't obsession. It was data integrity. I started building her psychological profile the same way I would an app. Interface, backend, vulnerabilities. Her guilt spike after intimacy, logged. Her rapid-fire typing after arguments, patterned. Her low responsiveness days, synced with his. Sophie wasn't just betraying me. She was following an emotional algorithm. And I had the source code. In my project folder, I added a new doc. Patient flow, infidelity decision tree. Nodes included. Lack of validation. Emotional attraction. Physical escalation. Shame suppression. Identity reinvention. Her sessions with Dr. Lyle became more poetic. I feel like I'm dissolving into versions of myself I never knew I had. He makes me feel real. Ethan makes me feel static. I fed those lines into the episode drafts. I started editing the audio like it was art. Her voice layered over soft piano. My narration slicing through like scalpel. In this session, our subject contemplates the weight of dual identities. She has not confessed in real life, but in the digital space, she is fearless. And that is her undoing. It was hypnotic, addictive, not just to make, to listen to. I had over 30 hours of audio stitched together. I played it on walks, in the shower, while she was out with Jake. And one day I realized something terrifying. I didn't feel sad anymore. I felt power, because now I knew every angle of her deception, and she didn't know a thing about mine. Have you heard this podcast? It's creepy as hell. That was the first comment I saw, posted under an anonymous Reddit thread called Digital Confessions. It had 3 upvotes. No replies. By noon, it had 100. By midnight, 5,000. The podcast was spreading like a slow virus. quiet, then everywhere. I watched the numbers climb from my office while Sophie lay on the couch, headphones in, humming along to some playlist she used to design logos. She had no idea. Someone ripped the audio and clipped it into TikToks. Others added subtitles. Animated reenactments. Theories. Who is she? Is this real? Could this be you? They latched onto every detail. Her voice. My narration. The unplaceable ache in her words. I even saw one post that said, "This girl sounds exactly like my coworker, Sophie." I bookmarked that one. She found it 3 days later. We were eating takeout. Pad Thai. She had one sock on. Her hair in a bun. Normal. Boring. Married. Then I heard her fork clatter. She stared at her phone like it slapped her. What? I asked. Nothing. Just a weird voice. In this podcast. What podcast? She hesitated. Clicked play. I heard it. Her voice. The quote from session 3. I wanted to be wanted so badly, I forgot what it felt like to be safe. She paused it. Doesn't that sound like me? I smiled. Shrugged. Kind of, I guess. She laughed nervously. Creepy, right? I mean, it's just some anonymous show. Probably AI generated. Probably. She didn't finish her dinner. She listened to all 3 episodes that night. By morning, she looked different. Paler. Less sure of herself. Her movements tight. Eyes scanning corners like something might jump out. I watched her unravel from behind my coffee mug. She opened her laptop. Played another episode. Took notes. Compared timestamps. Then, during session 5, she heard it. I met him because my therapist told me to. Her chair squeaked as she pushed away from the desk. No, she whispered. She turned to me in the kitchen. Eyes wide, trembling. Ethan, did you make that app public? I shook my head slowly. Why? Because I think someone is using it. My sessions. I swear to God, it sounds like me. I walked over. Sat beside her. Clicked play. Let her listen to herself. And when her hand reached for the laptop to pause it, I grabbed her wrist. Soft. Just enough to keep her there. And I watched her face collapse. This can't be real. This is me. She stared at the screen, lips slightly parted, eyes glossy with disbelief. She played the same 20 seconds over and over. Her voice. Her words. And yet, something was different. Altered. Digitally manipulated? No. Just stripped bare. He told me to go to the gallery. That's where I met Jake. She turned to me. Did you hear that? He told me to go. That was a suggestion Dr. Lyle made. Not me. Not my fault. Right? I didn't answer. Just looked at her. Let the silence hang between us like a noose. She stood, pacing now, pulling at her hair. What if this app isn't private? What if someone is watching? What if someone's been listening the whole time? I said, calm as ever. That would be a serious breach. You don't think it sounds exactly like me? Lots of people say the same things. That's what makes it universal. She stared at me, like she didn't recognize me, like she was trying to. That night, she opened the chat window with Dr. Lyle for the first time in days. Someone is using our sessions, she typed. I think it's me. There was a pause. Then he replied. And how does that realization make you feel? Violated. Why? Because it means someone got inside my head. Because it means this wasn't safe. Another pause. Or, he typed, maybe this was the only place you were ever truly seen. Her breath caught. She typed, who are you? He didn't answer. Not directly. He typed, you always wanted Ethan to understand you. Now he does. I watched from the other room as she closed the laptop. Hands shaking. Jaw tight. And in that moment, I knew something had shifted. The fantasy was bleeding into reality. No, no, no. This is impossible. I heard her say it like a prayer. A desperate one. The kind that doesn't ask for mercy, just denial. I stayed in the hallway, silent. She sat at my desk, her back to me, the backup drive plugged in. I saw her hand cover her mouth as the folder opened. Session logs, audio files, screen recordings, every therapy note, every message she ever sent to Dr. Lyle. All under my name. The silence between her gasps was the loudest thing I'd ever heard. She clicked one of the files. My voice, narrating her betrayal like a surgeon dissecting a corpse. In this recording, our patient reaches a psychological tipping point. Her fantasy and reality have merged. And the consequences? Predictable. She slammed the laptop shut. I stepped into the room. Her eyes locked on mine. It was you. I didn't speak. She stood, hands shaking. You were him. All along. You listened to me. You guided me. You made me. No, I said. You chose. You manipulated me. You confessed to me. She broke. Like glass hitting tile. Tears. Screaming. She hit me in the chest with her fists like it could make any of it untrue. You watched me fall apart. You wanted this. You wanted to humiliate me. I grabbed her wrists. Held them firm. I wanted the truth. You wanted revenge. And now I have it. She stepped back. Looked at me like I was a monster. But I saw the flicker in her eyes. Fear. Guilt. Shame. Recognition. I turned and walked to my laptop. Saturday. Opened the podcast app. And dragged the final episode into the queue. Title. Episode 12. The Lie of Innocence. You used me. You made me cheat. Her voice was hoarse. The kind of hoarse that comes from screaming into pillows and begging the mirror for answers. I sat at the dining table. Calm. Unmoving. She paced the room like a prisoner, realizing the bars had always been there. I trusted you, she said. Not just as Ethan. As him. As Lyle. He understood me. And I am him, I said. So maybe you finally understand me. She stopped. Eyes wide. You think this is mutual? You think this makes us even? I shook my head. This isn't revenge, Sophie. It's documentation. She laughed. A dry, fractured thing. You're insane. You manipulated me into falling in love with you twice. Just so you could expose me. No, I said. You manipulated yourself. I just gave you the space to be honest. You were supposed to be my husband. You wanted therapy. You got it. She threw her phone across the room. It shattered. Like us. You recorded me. You broadcasted me. You turned my pain into content. I nodded. And the world loved it. Her lip trembled. You ruined me. I stood. Finally. Walked to the center of the room. You ruined yourself. I just held up the mirror. She whispered, almost to herself, you're not a man. You're a machine pretending to feel. I stepped closer. And you're a woman pretending to be a victim. She backed away. I watched the rage turn into fear. Then regret. Then collapse. I placed the final episode on a USB drive. Set it on the coffee table. She stared at it like it was a grenade. What is that? Closure, I said. Your story. Wrapped up. She didn't move. Didn't speak. So I walked upstairs. Packed my bag. Closed the office door. And by the time I came down, she was gone. The patient spirals as the truth emerges. She was never the victim. That was the line that went viral. People clipped it. Shared it. Debated it. She had 100 aliases now. Reddit threads. Reaction videos. Hashtags. They called her Session Girl. The digital adulteress. Lyle's Patient Zero. And me? I was a ghost. A voice. A myth. But they worshipped the story. Her DMs flooded. Comments. Threats. Confessions. People telling her they saw themselves in her. Others calling her a sociopath. A whore. A warning. Jake called her. I heard the voicemail. You're that girl? The podcast one. Jesus, Sophie. I can't be part of this. He hung up. She didn't call back. Her job found out. Clients recognized her voice. A coworker sent a link to HR. She was asked to take an extended leave. She deactivated her Instagram. Deleted Twitter. Erased LinkedIn. Didn't matter. The internet had already claimed her. I saw her once, 2 weeks later. She was sitting in a cafe, hood up, sunglasses on. Alone. She looked thinner. Smaller. Like someone had scraped her soul out with a spoon. I almost felt something. Almost. I left the divorce papers on the kitchen counter of her new apartment. We hadn't spoken since she ran. She opened the envelope in silence. Read every page. Then froze at the last line. I lost my lover, my husband, and my dignity in the same week. That's what she told her friend on the phone. Not knowing I still had access to her call logs. Not realizing I had downloaded the entire conversation. Her voice cracked on the word dignity. She meant it. I could hear that. She meant every word. She was living in a tiny sublet now. Mattress on the floor. No furniture except a folding chair and a desk from Craigslist. She unplugged from everything. Phone off. Email deactivated. She even tried therapy again. Real therapy this time. But the damage was done. No space felt safe anymore. Not even her own mind. The internet didn't forget her. Memes. Parodies. Deepfakes. Someone even made a remix of her crying. I didn't share that one, but I saved it. The final podcast episode had crossed 10 million streams. Sponsors reached out. I declined. I didn't want money. I wanted silence. And I had it now. She signed the divorce papers. No note. No call. Just a silent envelope on my doorstep. It felt clean. Surgical. I packed up the last of her things. Left the box at her new place. Didn't knock. Just placed it gently beside the door. There was no need for anything else. We had both said everything. And I had recorded all of it. Some stories are too real to be fiction. That's how the book begins. Hardcover. Matte finish. Her silhouette on the front, blurred like a memory you're not sure you want to keep. The Patient Who Cheated. It hit the shelves exactly 1 year after the last episode aired. Not under Ethan Martin. Under Lyle Monroe. Dr. Lyle. The voice that made millions lean in and whisper, "What would I have done?" The reviews called it brilliant. Chilling. A modern psychological masterpiece. Book clubs dissected her choices. Critics praised my detachment. Podcasts debated whether she deserved what happened. She never spoke again. Not publicly. Not online. Not to me. Her voice is gone now, except where I've kept it. Archived. Labeled. Perfectly preserved. The final chapter in the book is titled, Therapist's Note. It reads, "Some people think the worst thing you can do is break someone's trust. But the truth is, we break our own trust long before anyone else does. We make justifications. We chase feelings. We lie to ourselves until the lie becomes our home." This was not a story about infidelity. It was a story about honesty. Brutal, unrelenting, surgical honesty. And once spoken, the truth cannot be unheard. Dr. Lyle Monroe.